Long ago, a man named Noah lived in a world very different from ours today. The people around him were making many bad choices. They forgot how to be kind and stopped listening to what was right. God saw this and felt very sad because the earth was full of violence and wrong things. So, God decided to send a big flood to clean the world and start again. God spoke to Noah and gave him a secret warning. He told Noah to build a large boat called an ark. This ark would be the only safe place when the flood came. Noah felt the weight of this strange warning deep in his heart. He couldn't tell if anyone else believed him. Noah was a good man who trusted God. The warning was not easy to hear. God said the flood was going to cover all the earth, destroying everything that lived outside the ark. This was a very serious message. Noah knew many people would not believe him. After all, it had never rained like this before. People laughed at Noah because they could not imagine such a flood. They asked him, "What are you doing with so much wood?" But Noah did not try to explain too much. Instead, he kept building the ark quietly, day after day, trusting the warning he received. The warning was very simple, but very important. God told Noah, "Build the ark because the flood is coming to destroy all life on earth." But the people around Noah did not listen. They continued to live as if nothing was wrong. They did not think about the future or about the strange boat growing in the middle of their town. Noah felt alone, but stayed strong. He had faith that God's warning was true. He wanted to save his family and the animals. The message was clear, but hard for others to accept. Noah tried to warn everyone. He told them, "The flood is coming soon. You must prepare and listen to God's warning." But most people ignored him. They said Noah was crazy. Some even made fun of him. Imagine how hard it must have been for Noah to keep building the ark while people laughed. But Noah knew he had a job to do. He believed the strange warning from God was for real. Noah's faith was stronger than the fear of being made fun of. This made him special because he chose to obey even when no one else did. The warning was not only about the flood, it was also about listening and trusting. Noah's story teaches us why it is important to pay attention when we are warned about danger. God gave Noah a clear message to prepare for the flood. Some warnings come in surprising ways, like a huge boat in the middle of nowhere. That is why understanding and believing warnings can keep us safe, just as it saved Noah and the creatures on the ark. This chapter begins the story of Noah's last warning. It shows how important it is to listen to wise advice, even if it seems strange. Today, we also face warnings about our world and future. Noah's story asks us to think, will we listen when the warning comes, or will we be like the people who laughed at Noah? The strange warning was the start of an incredible journey of faith and survival, a journey we will explore in the coming chapters. After hearing the strange warning, Noah began to build the ark exactly as God had instructed him. The instructions were clear and detailed. God told him the ark should be very large so it could hold Noah's family and many animals safely during the flood. The ark was to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. A cubit is a measurement from the elbow to the tip of the middle finger, about 18 inches. This means the ark was about 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. To imagine this size, the ark was as long as 1.5 football fields and as tall as a 3-story building. Noah worked hard every day. He cut the big trees and shaped the wood carefully. He made rooms inside the ark for his family and spaces to keep the animals safe. Each room had to be strong and dry. The ark was covered in pitch, a sticky substance like tar both inside and outside. This covered the wood, making sure the ark did not leak when the rain and flood came. Noah and his family had a big job, but they did not give up. They worked through the hot sun and cold nights, trusting that this strange boat would keep them safe. People in the town saw Noah building this huge wooden box. Many did not understand why he was doing it. They laughed and called him crazy because the sky was clear and no rain was falling. Noah never answered the mean words. He kept listening to the warning and continued to build the ark with strong faith. His family helped him, working day by day. Even though the work was hard and the ark was big, they stayed focused on the task with hope. Building the ark was not simple. Noah had to plan how to fit many different animals inside. There were birds, big animals like elephants, small ones like rabbits, and many others. The ark needed enough rooms to keep all these animals safe during the flood. Noah also had to store enough food and water for his family and the animals. Every detail mattered. They worked carefully to finish before the rain started. The way Noah obeyed the warning showed his deep trust in God's plan. As the ark grew taller and longer, Noah felt closer to the purpose given to him. This was more than a big wooden boat. It was a symbol of hope and survival. Noah's story teaches us the power of listening and obeying, even when others do not believe us. The ark shows what faith and courage can build. While the people outside laughed, Noah built a safe home on the water, ready for the coming storm. The building of the ark was a time of hard work, hope, and faith. Noah did not just build a boat, he built a future for his family and many creatures. This chapter shows us how important it is to follow warnings with action. Noah's obedience saved life during the Great Flood, reminding us to be ready when we receive important warnings too. As Noah built the ark, people around him did not understand his warning. They saw a huge wooden boat growing day by day, but could not believe a flood would come. Instead of listening, many laughed and mocked him. They called Noah crazy and said the rain would never fall. It must have been very hard for Noah and his family to face such mockery. Yet they did not stop working on the ark because they trusted the warning from God. The crowd's laughter was loud and constant. They visited the site often to shout and tease. Some even hit the walls of the ark just to see how strong it was. Noah would hear their voices, but he did not respond. His heart was focused on finishing the job and saving lives. The mockers thought Noah was wasting his time on something silly. They enjoyed their lives without fear, ignoring the warning completely. Despite the harsh words, Noah kept building the ark with quiet faith. He knew the flood was coming and that the ark was a lifeboat. His family helped him every day, working hard and providing support. Noah's faith was stronger than the ridicule. He believed in something important that others could not see yet. This made his work not just a task, but a mission to protect the future. Noah also tried to warn people again and again. He spoke about the coming flood and urged them to listen. But the crowd did not take him seriously. They were busy with their daily lives and did not want to think about such a disaster. The story shows how warnings are sometimes ignored when they sound strange or too frightening. Noah's example teaches us the importance of paying attention to warnings, even if others reject them. The mocking crowd shows how hard it is to stand alone when you believe something others do not. Noah could have stopped building the ark, but he didn't. He chose faith over fear and action over silence. His story reminds us that sometimes the right path is not the easy one. It takes courage to listen to warnings and prepare for the future when no one else does. This difficult time of mockery was just before the Great Flood. It prepares us to understand the full story of Noah's obedience and survival. The laughing and ignoring will soon change when the flood waters arrive. Noah's story invites us to think about who we trust and how we respond when we hear important warnings in our own lives. As the ark neared completion, Noah prepared for the next important task, gathering the animals. God had told Noah to bring 2 of every kind of animal, 1 male and 1 female, to keep them alive during the flood. For some clean animals, Noah was to bring 7 pairs. This was to help life continue after the flood, so animals could reproduce and fill the earth again. Noah knew this was a huge responsibility. Many kinds of animals, big and small, wild and gentle, would come to the ark. Noah trusted that God would guide the animals to the ark. It was an incredible scene to imagine. The animals walking, flying, and crawling towards a big wooden boat. Elephants, lions, birds, and even little rabbits all coming together. Noah and his family worked hard to prepare rooms inside the ark for each kind. The animals needed space, food, and water. Noah had to be ready for every type of creature that walked the earth. Bringing animals 2 by 2 showed the importance of obedience. Noah did exactly what he was told without adding or taking away. The animals needed to survive on the ark and after the flood. Clean animals were brought in greater numbers because Noah and his family would eat some of them for food. Also, clean animals would be used for sacrifices later. The animals did not fight or harm each other on the ark. Noah cared for the animals day and night, feeding them and keeping them safe. The Bible says the animals were calm and behaved well. It was a peaceful time inside the ark, a place where life was protected against the coming storm. Noah's obedience and love for the creatures showed the importance of caring for all living things. This gathering of animals is more than a story about survival. It is a lesson about listening and following instructions even when the task seems impossible. Noah's trust in God made the impossible possible. The animals coming to the ark remind us of the power of faith and hope in the face of danger. It is a message that still speaks to us today. As we think about the animals boarding the ark, we can remember how important it is to protect our planet today. Like Noah, we must listen to warnings about caring for our earth and its creatures. This part of the story shows us the beginning of a new life, a new chance for all living things after the flood. The animals gathering is a symbol of hope, survival, and the importance of obedience. The day Noah had been preparing for finally arrived. The sky began to darken and the first drops of rain fell. For 40 days and nights, rain poured from the heavens, covering the earth. The floodwaters rose higher and higher, flooding the valleys and covering the tallest mountains. The ark floated on the water, carrying Noah, his family, and the animals safely through the storm. Outside, the world was changing, and everything that lived away from the ark was in great danger. Inside the ark, Noah and his family worked hard to care for the animals. They fed them, cleaned their spaces, and kept the ark steady. The animals, though many different kinds, lived together in peace. Outside, the flood continued without pause. Rivers became seas, and hills became islands under the water. The flood was a powerful force, but inside the ark, the promise of safety was real. Noah's faith had turned into action, saving many lives. After many days, the rain stopped, but the floodwaters did not go away quickly. The ark floated on the water for months. Noah had to be patient and careful. He trusted God's plan and waited for the right moment to leave the ark. To check the land, Noah sent out birds. A raven flew back and forth, but it found no dry land. Then a dove was sent, but it also returned, finding no place to rest. Noah waited patiently and sent the dove again. This time, the dove came back with a fresh olive leaf in its beak. It was a sign that the water was going down and dry land was appearing. Finally, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah and his family waited for the waters to dry completely. When the time was right, God told Noah it was safe to leave the ark. Noah, his wife, their 3 sons, and their wives stepped out into a completely changed world. They saw a fresh and clean earth, free from the wrong things that had caused the flood. All the animals came out, ready to live again and fill the earth. It was a new beginning for all life. To thank God, Noah built an altar and offered sacrifices of animals and birds. God was pleased with this act of faith and made a promise. He promised never again to destroy the earth with a flood. God set a rainbow in the sky as a sign of this promise. Whenever people see a rainbow, they can remember God's promise of love and protection. Noah's story shows us that even after great difficulties, there is hope for a fresh start. The Great Flood teaches us about obedience, faith, and patience. Noah obeyed the strange warning, trusted in God's plan, and saved many lives. The flood's power reminds us of strength, and the rainbow reminds us of God's mercy. This chapter helps us understand why listening and trusting are important, even when times are hard. Noah's experience encourages us to believe in new beginnings and the power of faith. After the flood, Noah and his family started a new life on the fresh earth. They stepped out of the ark into a world full of promise and hope. God blessed Noah and his sons, telling them to multiply and fill the earth again. Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, became the fathers of many nations. From their families, all the people of the world came. This was a new beginning for humanity, a chance to live differently and better. Noah's story is not only about the past, but also about lessons for us today. The warning Noah received was clear and important. It shows us that warnings should never be ignored. Just as Noah listened to God's warning about the flood, we must listen to warnings about our world now. Scientists and leaders warn us about climate change, pollution, and the need to protect animals, and these warnings are a call to action, just like the warning Noah received before the flood. Noah's obedience saved many lives, but the flood also showed what happens when people ignore important warnings. The world before the flood was full of mistakes and bad choices. Today, we see some similar problems. People sometimes ignore signs that our earth is in danger. Noah's story reminds us that listening and acting on warnings can protect our future. It asks us to be responsible for our planet and each other. The rainbow is a special symbol in the story. It is God's promise to never destroy the earth with a flood again. Every time we see a rainbow, it can remind us of hope and care for our world. We have a choice: to listen or ignore. Noah's last warning is an invitation to choose wisely, to respect, to care for animals, and to live in a way that protects life. Noah's journey was one of faith, courage, and obedience. He trusted a warning that others did not believe. Today, we can follow his example. We can listen carefully to the warnings we receive about the environment, animals, and our planet's health. Doing this can help us avoid harm and create a better world. Noah's story is a powerful reminder. When we listen, prepare, and act, we can overcome great challenges. In closing, Noah's last warning connects to us all. It crosses time and history to speak about hope and responsibility. Will we hear the warnings of our time and act? Will we protect our world and each other? Noah's story encourages us to live with faith and care. It reminds us that even one person who listens and obeys can make a big difference for the future.